Shout out to everybody out here. Hope you're having a wonderful time. See you on the live. God bless. And here we are together. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Live Show, baby. Bitcoin getting a nice pump, 97,200. Let's take a look. I was looking for a bull pennant to pump to the upside here. Let's take a look at what happened. Let's get that music back up and running, and let's get into it like we always do. Shout out to all my people here on the live. Crucial times for BTC, 97,200. Obliterating the shots. And this is what I was looking at. This beautiful little bull pennant here seems to be breaking out to the upside for Bitcoin. Is this sustainable on the 15-minute to the 1-hour time frame? This is what we were watching inside of my trading group. If you were woken up to my update, or if you were getting my update, or if you watched the update, this is what I've been talking about right here. A possible move to $100,000 for Bitcoin. Massive move ensue. Could we get a huge move here today for BTC? Only time will tell. From his secret lair, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mr. Sammy Price Action, the crypto liver. Here, funny man. And his cast of thousands of the 99. Let's give him a round of applause. All the way from my underground lair. Oh no. We're getting one of those. Hold up. Can't believe it. We'll be back on in 2 seconds. No stress. And if that just, we'll just have to, yeah, there we go. Hope we make it through most of the stream. That's an unusual occurrence. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in and appreciate each and every. We're plugged in, so we don't need a battery. See what I'm saying? But anything is possible whenever you get back home to the home studio, I guess, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's take a look at BTC getting a nice pump. Do we jump on in and go full steam for Bitcoin? Does this mean we're going all the way? I think we should kind of hold back here and take a look at the big picture before we jump on in. Let's take a look at what's happening to Bitcoin on the bigger picture. So if you were watching me for the last few weeks over and over again, you've seen me take something out of my hat that's called hidden bullish divergence. And you've seen me kind of pull off the idea that we're going to the downside on the RSI, while we're going to the upside on price action. We did it here too as well. We went down here while we went up here. A very, you could even say there was hidden bullish divergence, and we broke to the upside. It says you're going to break the high of the divergence before you break the low that starts the divergence. Meaning, like, we're definitely going to break the all-time high before we ever went lower. But everyone told you we were going lower because they don't know how to read hidden bullish divergence. They all said we're going to go down here. And I said I know nothing but the fact of my ignorance. But I did pile into Bitcoin here, did I not? Because you don't have a choice. You have to be able to buy BTC at these key levels. There's no other chance. That's it. In my humble opinion, when the fear and greed was where it was, that was our chance to snatch Bitcoin when it was at a 10. We're sitting at a 67 now. The chance to get it on the lows is gone. The moment in time has dissipated. What do you mean dissipate? Dissipate. It dissipated. It disappeared. We just don't have it anymore. It's not there. It's not tangible. The time was back here again. That doesn't mean this opportunity is gone. There's opportunity all the time. Long term, still opportunity for BTC, of course. But, the best prices down there, and there's still more good prices. Doesn't mean I stopped buying Bitcoin. I just bought. You see me just buy, a fat 5 racks the other day. So you gotta still accumulate every red day. Every time it looks nasty, remember that nasty red day? I'm buying more. And look, it's already starting to pay off yet again. So I see a measured move. All right, somewhere up to about 140. I get 140K over and over again. 140, 142,000. And again, you can adjust it a little bit. There's a little bit of an angle. It's not gonna on such a bigger time frame. But you definitely, as you hone in, you start to get closer. But definitely 140K. Is the next big move here for Bitcoin. I take the wick to the wick, and you got that long wick there. I'll bring it up a little bit. You got, let's see, that wick right there. The Pender wicks. But that says, 139, 140K for Bitcoin. And I don't see why we can't continue to push. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of green for BTC. and people have been bearish. It's a bit strange, right? 5 weeks of green for Bitcoin, yet it still seems like people are bearish. Price action seems odd. People seem like they're running around like a chicken with its head. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it, but it is what it is. For some reason, people are just not adjusting to the fact that we bounced. And, you know, I've been just continuing to take longs here over and over again, telling everyone, I don't like this short. I don't like this short. There's been some shorts, but I've been anti-short ever since we've got the bounce. Haven't you noticed? You know, Sam doesn't short as much as he used to. He shorted. I was shorting and longing back and forth. Heck, sometimes 2 shorts, 1 long, a short, you know, back and forth. Once we started to get this bounce and shorting down here, but once we got this bounce, you know, it just starts to show signs that there's going to be a bigger move. That 4-hour trade, actually, I don't think it ever hit the stop loss that I did put out. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it never hit the stop loss, which was 93,000, 90, I think it was 93,298, remember? And yesterday we didn't go that low. So what's happening right now for Bitcoin? We're going to break it down for you. So the weekly looks amazing. And again, if you were watching this channel in the trading group, had any sense of what was going on, we also pulled the Fibonacci here, and we found that we had gotten a beautiful pullback to the 618 golden pocket, which to me is a coincidence that we had seen here before. We had hidden bullish divergence, low stochastic. And then when I, pulled the Fibonacci from this impulse here, we had come right to the 618 golden pocket. And I'm like, Bitcoin just likes to do this exact scenario. The hidden bullish, low stochastic, and then it likes to rip. And I've seen it on bigger assets too. I've seen it on the S&P. I've seen it on the Dow Jones Industrial. I've seen it on a bunch of different things. So this wouldn't be the first time I've encountered this amazing sauce here for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin 97.2, if you remember that too, that was a huge area of contention over and over and over again. 97.2, 97.2. I said if we can get back above 97.2, I'll remain bullish. We lost it. It was just a lot of price action around 97,200 if you have deja vu with me. So the weekly looks beautiful. Let it continue to rip. And right there, you can see the weekly resistance was somewhere at about, 94,571 for Bitcoin. Shout out to all the new people jumping on in, watching cryptocurrency. My name's Sam Price, Crypto Lifer. I got into Bitcoin early 2000, found out about it in 2016, started getting into crypto in 2016, started buying and selling all sorts of cryptos, Bittrex, all sorts of fun. And then the rest is kind of history. I could go over the long story. But before that, I was even trading gold and silver. I was on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and Interactive Brokers, had some fun. So I did a lot of different things before I got into crypto. I was trading, started looking, buying and selling coins when I was 20, 22 years old, buying stocks, but I had no idea what I was doing, looking at Apple, all that fun stuff. Then, of course, Tesla came out. I was researching Nikola Tesla, and I read a book about Nikola Tesla, and then the car company Tesla, and then I was like, oh my God, Tesla, my mind was open. And then from there, everything just kind of continued. And then it led me to Bitcoin, and first I was trading gold and silver for years, and now I'm here. All right, and so welcome to the arena with the lifers. So the 15-minute looks big to me. It looks like it is breaking out, almost like it did a bullish retest. And that thing may begin to get busy here to the upside for Bitcoin. And it's a day before Fed Day. We could see heavy volatility, a pump up, a pump down. But some days the charts just tell you what's going to happen, and this looks pretty bullish to me for BTC. You see that? And so I was on BitTinex last night. I couldn't sleep last night with the jet lag, or I fell asleep at like 10 to 1, woke up at 1. And I made this trade here when we crossed the 1 minute 200 MA. That was a trade yesterday. But last night we crossed the 1 minute 200 MA. And we got a nice pump around this Adam and Eve double bottom here. Let me show you. Right here. And that created a huge move. And then look, this is the Adam and Eve double bottom, which is a triangle and a semicircle. If you take the measured move, it's the semicircle to the middle. You see what I'm saying? I take the whole length from that because it's, you get that. You want to take the algorithmic range that it's making. Slapped it up there, and then look, Bitcoin hit the target, and now we're at the target. Like, that trade's still in the green. I've since taken profits, and now look at the 1 minute showing signs of a beautiful move here to the upside. And would you look at that, right? So here on Bit2Next, showing you kind of how I trade. And again, it's high risk today. Anything can happen, for sure. But this account's been going well. We've been banging on them. 3 for 3 on the trades we've made since 2Pi. You know what I mean? So this account has just been winning since I got off the plane, if you can believe it. So here's the deal. We're a flag inside of a flag in a flag, right? Looks somewhat bullish to me for a move. I want to get to 98,134 on the small scalp. The bigger time frame, hopefully even a bigger move. And then 96,862 would be my stop. And I'm in there like, so I'm going to go for it. I like these trades. Make sure you click on the exact price action you're on. And 200 for 662. 3 for 770. Let's go for it. Scared money make no money. Raise it into limit order status. We're in there. And the second this thing starts to pump, I'm going to move that, and so here we go. Going for that $700 win. Can we get the pump? Low stochastics. Bull flag above the 200. This is my model. So it's my model. It's Wednesday. I'm here in clear. I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling good. Everything is kind of stacked. And I can still lose the trade. Remember that. But look, you make $57 the second the trade opens. I mean, you go green the second it opens. So you could scalp all day that way. Up 2%. Up 2.2. Give me that 3. I'll show I'm the king of 3%. I tell you, I'm the king of 3% over here. No one makes 3% more than me. I haven't got to say it since I've been back to the States. Come on, baby. Nobody makes 3% more than I do over here. Like, I'm going to sip my coffee. It's going to go up 3%. Hey, I told you. Paisano. And there it is, man. I told you I'm the king of 3%. I needed to print $100. I had to make $100 out of nowhere. There it is over here. Nice pump to the upside. Exact entry. If you entered when I entered, the trade just continued to pump immediately. I'm not saying we're going to win for sure. There could be some bullish, some bearish dip there. Let's see how high we can fly. But the shorts are in order, getting pummeled. And remember, we even gave you the trade yesterday on the S&P and the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ. We're going to show you kind of how that makes sense too and what's happening on the bigger picture. And it doesn't mean we win. This could crash in my face. It all started off so sweet. That's kind of how leverage it. It starts off beautiful. Got to learn to maintain. This could be a rising wedge that breaks down in my face too. So there's no guarantees here for Bitcoin trading. One step at a time. So we get above the 200 MA here. And Jerome Powell talking to adds to the volatility today. That's going to be coming our way. We kind of really need this to banana curve on out of here to the upside for a massive pump. Looking for that $98,000 level to get cracked again. Once we go through that, that was the key resistance twice now in the last couple days that we've hit. We get through 98,000, we're going to get a beautiful pump further to the upside for Bitcoin. You know it, I know it, and that's just kind of how it rocks. All right? Blessed are the people that keep pushing every single day. You will be blessed for everything that comes your way. If you never stop, if you always look forward, if you push every single day, no matter what. I'm jet lagged, I'm up, I'm down, I'm in planes, I'm all around. It doesn't matter. Okay? We keep pushing every single day. There's no one going to help us or do it for us. We got to get maintained. And I just want to let y'all know I love y'all. And, may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of something amazing. So we're getting the pump. up 5.93%, $142 on the live trade. How does he do it? How does the guy open trades live and it starts to pump every single time? What's happening? What is this? What kind of channel is this? Is he insane? Is this your second, third, fourth, fifth time? How many times have you come to the live stream? Welcome. Come one, come all. I'm going to teach you the errors of your ways. No, but I'm going to teach you all these different interesting things that you could do inside of trading that can teach you and show you. All right. And again, when fast gains come like this too, I get ready to possibly bring that stop loss to break even. It's about not losing no matter what. People like to gamble. To me, it's about risk management. Proper risk management is key. It's about, right now, look, I can't lose the trade if I bring this to break even now. You're like, but it's only $140, Sam. You're going for 700. Yes, but if you did that 10 times, it's $1,400. And I've only been in the trade 5 minutes. You see? And I'd rather lower the risk than go for the gain. And see, that's been my model. And once I put that first, lower the risk than go for the gain, things have really, the gain started to pile up. Isn't that interesting? It's like when I'm more responsible with the stop loss, the less I get hit when you played with it. Remember all the liquidations when you didn't use a stop? Then you use the stop and actually start winning. You're like, I thought stops got me hit off every time because you wanted to do the wrong thing. Now we're up 166.7% of the trade. It ain't too bad, $78,000 trade. I mean, $2,400 in the 33x leverage. $78,000 trade. Dang near a whole BTC here. We're not swinging around small biscuits. Let's go. That's how you can make, a day's pay in a couple minutes, couple seconds here. But you got to know what you're doing. And we really want this thing to continue to rip. I want to see this close. This candle closes in 56 seconds. Here we go. Let's get this short squeeze to the upside. And then we can see BOOKMAP on the end here as we're getting this short squeeze. And then we look for the liquidity. Nice pump for Bitcoin. Shout out to anyone that jumped on into the trade with the lifer. And you could just feel the energy when you come here. You can feel the movement. You can feel the use of strategy, the calmness, the lack of emotion. Moving stop losses into position to take gains. Not worrying what anybody thinks about you. No matter what, a green is a green, is a gain is a gain, a gain a gain. Don't worry what anyone else is thinking about you and your gains. Just take profits over and over again. They will compile over time. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. But I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. I'm going to continue to roll those gains into more gains. Look, that candle just closed green, but it had its first kind of bigger wick. Let's see what happens here. We are on a very small time frame. Remember that? But that will be my first scalp there of the morning. Very likely they're going to take me out here. That's the plan. Look at this here. We're stuck on silver. This group has changed my life, people. It's worth it. Get in the Discord. So much value. Thanks for everyone's mentor. God bless you. God bless. And so they spiked it down nicely. But that's okay. And I expect this thing to probably rip. But now what we can do is we can kind of readjust too as well. Let's take a look at what's happening on the 5-minute time frame. Wow, it's looking pretty bullish all around, isn't it? Bitcoin. Maybe able to ride. Remember yesterday we took the 3-minute 200 MA and took it all day. Got in and took it for the rest of the day. Like it was the entry that just continued to give. So there's another way to do this is just to have a bigger off. I've been doing this too. You scalp and then have a bigger offset area. So this is what I've been using weeks for, is to have the trade set up on a bigger time frame. So check it out. And shout out to Weeks, remembering everything here. Awesome. We asked for it. It's done. But look, I mean, that looks so bullish to me right here. Like, that looks bullish on the 1 hour time frame. Now you can see this setup too. So I like to swing trade weeks. I like to scalp B2 necks. It's just the ease of use depending on the platform, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. You can see I already have a trade there too going. So the stop is going to be at about 95,341. That's all I need it to be. Again, do whatever makes you happy. I'm showing you how I avoid risk, how I use proper risk management. And we go to 105,379 on this puppy. This could be one that really rips. And we've been ripping on the week's account. We'll take 4 for 15 on that and open that puppy up. All right. Let's see if it, right? Oh, hold on one second. I want to take both these out here. Yeah, here. Okay, 105,379. That's going to be 95,202. Yeah, so we should be clear here. Here we go. 490 versus 17. Very close to the bone on the 1 hour time frame. We get adjusted, but I love that 1 hour. When the 200 MA is so powerful, I trusted it very heavily. And so I'd rather lose 475 than miss out on a pump. And so that could definitely get us there. And now we'll cook. We'll let that sit. Let's see here. You got to get adjusted. Okay, and you got your position, right? And you can see weeks you're going to be on the left, but the next you'll be on the right. Don't get confused because it could happen to you. All right. So, wow. Bitcoin, breakout on the 15-minute time frame. There's going to be a resistance right here. We're going to have to break through 97,005. We get through that. I mean, it's back to 98 and then back to 99. Measured move says we get to $100,000. What is Jerome Powell going to say? The CME tool says nothing. Says we got to, but is he going to lead into the fact that there will be? I just think this is the last time he has to say something. And then when you lead to June, you can already see right now there's a 69% chance, all right, that we stay flat though too. I mean, we're still at 4.254. Same thing here, 69, but it starts to lean 30%. But I'm just, that doesn't, I don't know. July, it starts to bend the other way. That it's more likely the rate cut in July, and then September it's on. And now we might even have 2 rate cuts. By December, I mean, we could be back at, look, so that would be 1 right there. 2, we could have 3 rate cuts by the end of the year. That would create a massive pump because people could borrow money cheaper. They'd throw it into the markets. That's just what happens. 369 theory right there, 97369 for Bitcoin. So we already made a live scalp on the channel. We showed you how to take gains. Then we made another trade to see kind of what happens here on weeks. It's a swing trade on the bigger time frames. It's going to take time. This is going to take 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 hours to play out. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. The 1 hour isn't immediate. Sometimes it is. You never know. But I wouldn't sit here and stare at this. Either I get stopped out or I don't. And I'm showing you strategy after strategy, time after time, day after day, idea after idea, and it plays out over and over again. It's up to you whether you want to just, maximize the ideas, go after it, create your own, whatever you want to do with it. I'm just giving information away. God said, hey, Sammy, you figured it out. You sat alone. You got yourself in a good spot. And hey, that's how you can help others. I said, I'll give you a cool platform. I'll let you talk and do all your cool hosting things that you've all wanted to do. Wear all your funky clothes, whatever you want to do, Sam. Just help people. And I said, okay, God, I'll do that. And so God gave me all the things I've ever dreamed. And so I'm going to help you guys get all the things you've ever dreamed of. And if we can do that together, bang, bang, bang. Blessings on blessings to everybody out here. A lot. No stress, man. No stress. No stress. No stress on the camera, man. Blessings on blessings to everybody out there, though. And may you're hoping you're having a blessed day. Yeah, you know, there's always going to be something in the tech world. But I think I handled it. I think I spangled it out. I figured it out. I nailed it. I nailed it. Wanted to make sure that I got everything kind of perfect vision here. There we go. Okay. Shout out Sammy will change his batteries. Give him, yeah. The Energizer Buddy. So Bitcoin. Now you're looking for this 15-minute to make a cool little flag here and get busy. Could even extend this like this and say, hey, are we going to make something bigger? But to me, that's a breakout of this kind of tight little price action. And again, we still have a possible double top here for Bitcoin. I could easily lose that $400 and get stopped out. Remember, we made good gains last week, and we already started to make gains the second I got home, so I'm up again. And when you keep taking profits, I just keep taking a little bit more of the profits each time. Then I reassess for the bigger whammy. You know, there's one other big trade out there that I've talked about and discussed that I just actually looked at for the first time in my life. I don't know why I give away this stuff out of my mind. It's like even when I first discover it, I give it away. I'm wondering, Sammy, why are you so nice, man? I said, I don't know, my mom was so good to me, I guess, that I feel like I gotta help y'all. My dad was good to me too. And I talk to a lot of people, and I feel like there was a lot of good parents out there, but a lot of people didn't have the best, man. And so I just went over the idea, watch this. Say every time I had a bunch of dough, and every time we got above the 21, I just posted up with a bunch of money, you know, and I sat there with a kind of a tight stop. I would have made so much dough right there, right? Same thing here if I waited for us to get above the 21. Same thing right there. That there would have hurt. But whatever. That one would have banged. And we're getting it right here. So it's, you know, and again, the entry was like yesterday before we got the pump, right? And I even gave this away before we did get the pump. I've talked about this. I went over this, I believe it was Sunday. I think it was even when I was in Dubai. And team, I think we should clip this out. If we did clip it out, let me know. But it's definitely something we should clip out, and I'll remake actually too. You know, and I could have added it to the 21-day moving average series. Sam, the number one out of the profitable 10% of the traders. Shout out to Crypto Rick with the 10 beans. I could just teach you how to be profitable over and over and over again, time and time again. And you just got to look at it, you know. And you just got to keep a level head. Just got to keep a level head, that's all. So this is a possible trade right here with very minimal risk. And you can take a screenshot of this and remember this. There's a chance that this play, you never get stopped out, and this does plow to $120,000. Again, these are the trades that really make people, and again, it's gotta be right for you. All right, that's why you can never trade someone else's plan or plan someone else's trade. You see? Yeah, my 2-week chart does look beautiful. You know, the 2 weeks is ready to explode. And the 2 week has been my secret little trade. You know, it's been the one time frame that I use to accumulate Bitcoin when no one's paying attention. Whenever the fear and greed index gets somewhere into the shaded regions below 20, anywhere between 9, 10, and 20, and I've only seen it below 9 a few times in my life. Every time I've seen it, I've also coupled it with the 2 week chart. I'm giving away like stuff that I give away during my actual course. And I teach class this Saturday, the last Saturday of every month. I teach this class, everyone. And it's going to be, we had to move it because of Dubai, but this Saturday, jump on in, hit the QR code. I'll talk about some Dubai. We'll share some stories, you know, at the end, maybe we'll talk, whatever you want. We'll be an exclusive class, a post-Dubai class, but we'll have some fun. $150, but it's not going to change what I teach. It's going to be an amazing class, and we're going to break it down. And, you know, I took courses that charged $2,000. It took me like weeks to figure out what they showed me. I'm going to give you the stuff, and then you just got to do the homework. This is going to change your life. Hit the QR code to find out more. For $150, you're going to look back on this and be like, man, the man was giving away everything he had for $150. So a lot of people retake the course. They love it. So if you want to come on in, hit the QR code and find out more. Life Revision Trading Course this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, live from my studio. I'll be doing a Zoom with whoever, decides to jump in on into class. So the 2-week chart looks absolutely beautiful. It does, and it's just ready to rock. And in that next candle is going to close in 4 days and 10 hours, and it's a strong candle moving forward. And the only resistance up ahead is like 101, and then it's right there at about 104, and then we are gone. And you can tell Bitcoin never even revisited the previous resistance. It's bullish when a coin comes all the way back to its previous resistance. It got bought up before that even happened. I mean, that Fibonacci to the 618 golden pocket was strong. That's why we trade Fibonacci retracements here on this channel. That's why I'm strong about Fibonacci. That's why I teach fibs inside of my trading group. That's why it's all about a lot of fibs. And I don't use fib for extension. I feel like you don't have to. Measured moves are finally proper. Measured move by measured move, shape by shape, move by move, and you can see what's happening with price action. Bitcoin's sitting pretty, have no stress on that trade right now. It's just sitting at, 97,282, just sitting. Okay? Remember, this is going to be a long-term idea. Deep breaths, we take it one step at a time here for BTC. So far, one move, and now we got to watch this. Like, what we're looking for is this. We want to see this create a beautiful pattern here and not lose the 200 MA. And see, the small time frames are going to help us monitor what's going to happen. I know some people don't like this because it gives you too much work. Like, Sam, I can't keep the 1 minute in my head while I'm watching the 1 hour. You know what? Some people can't. And that's fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you're hyper analytical, if you're super sensitive to time and space, and you actually like to get into the nitty gritty, then this channel's for you. If you can see things other people can't see, if your whole life you've been highly detailed while everyone else kind of roamed around and you felt like, dang, I want to be with the high detail, then this is the channel for you. If you're hyper analytical, your brain is moving at 1,000 miles a minute, you can't ever sit still. If you can't sit on a lounge chair and relax and your mind's always moving, this channel's for you. Okay? This is for the mind that is always grinding. So we look for our next trade somewhat like this here for Bitcoin. And I can already kind of see a 4-to-1 risk-reward ratio. Doesn't mean I'm going to take it for sure, but I'm getting ready for 98,815 with a possible stop loss at about 97,020. Now, if you don't have this plan beforehand, how are you going to be able to take it? Small time frames are okay if you take a deep breath and manage them beforehand. You just got to be able to manage the trade before it happens and take a deep breath. That's all. It's okay. You can do this too. I can do this. I could never do this before, everybody. You think I started being able to do this right off the bat? No. Like, I'm going to sell at 979,000. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Sammy. Yeah, 97,020. And there's 85, right, for 548. And again, we're not saying we're taking these trades immediately. 138 for 900 would be amazing, wouldn't it? Are you going for 6.67? I'm not saying this is going to happen. This could dump in our face at any second. I could lose the other trade. There's no guarantees about any trade, everyone. You're just taking probabilities. But right now, I'm mapping out a possible probability here that could definitely play out. All right. Everyone, while I was trading and while I was out there in Dubai, I also had money working for me. I was using the Minotaur trading system. That's absolutely amazing. If you want to sign up or find out more, sign up for a call. Hit the link here. I'll tell you what I think about it. And then if you like that, schedule a call with the Minotaur trading system. It trades for me all the time in the background. It's like having me behind me while I'm asleep 24/7. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get emotional. It continues to grind. Imagine having a little bot, a little trading system that never stops in the background. Minotaur trading system has that for you, designed, ready to rock. Schedule a free consultation today to find out more. I did it and it changed my life. I was skeptical at first, everybody. I really was. And I know I sound like a salesman, but I only sell things that I believe could help you because I sell things that I believe are amazing. So I'd feel a disservice not to tell you about Minotaur trading systems because I'd keep it all to myself. So my Bitcoin's making Bitcoin behind your back and you don't have to know about it? It'd be kind of rude, wouldn't it? So I could either keep it to myself and tell nobody. I do make a nice commission, or I could make a commission and tell you about something that has changed my life. And so I decided to do the latter. And it's up to you whether you want to take that to the next level or not. But there's definitely people that I know that have already jumped on in, and I just can't wait to talk to them and see how they feel about their whole experience. So watching Bitcoin, we want to see if we can kind of get this move on out of here. And again, heavy volatility today. We could definitely get a nasty. This is kind of a double top here. This is a possible double top. We could get a nasty dump. Almost looks like cat ears, does it not? Nice gap of the VRVP. Do not be pissed if we end up down there. That means you didn't use a stop loss. You know, if I lose what I showed you today, I'm still up in the last few. You know what I mean? I'm up huge. I'm just risking a little bit. That $400 is just a small amount of what we've made. Remember this. You've got to follow along with proper risk management. That's why it's key to kind of watch my trades as we go. Like, oh yeah, he won last week with that big gain. $5,000 in one day in Dubai. Then we had the next day where we took gains in front of you guys on the live stream at the week's office. I remember it like it was yesterday. So look, we got this liquidity down here all the way down to 95,000 on BOOKMAP. You know, it's kind of like there's definitely some liquidity down there for sure. You can see that right there. So they want to take you. But look at all the way up also to 99,000. I mean, looking interesting. So there's that nice liquidation right there too. So I like what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. You can definitely get busy up to the higher time frames. They lack liquidity on either side right now. That guy right there at 97.2 looks like he's going to get taken out before anybody else. This is BOOKMAP. Link in the description to BOOKMAP. So right now we're watching for a possible double top cat ears because I like to play chess. I don't know about you. And when you play chess, you don't know what the person's going to do. That's why I play chess. Who wants to know exactly what's going to happen in life? Nobody. Chess players are people that like to be, they're entrepreneurs because entrepreneurship is knowing not knowing what to do, but doing it when you have to just, for instance, in the next few years, technology will shift and change. If you don't change your business model with technology, you will fall to the wayside. I call it the blockbuster game, right? You must stay prudent with tech. Otherwise, you will fall to the wayside. This is facts. And that can be daunting for somebody who goes into business because they're like, man, I'm not ready to be constantly on the move, constantly ready to recreate myself. Well, then you may not be ready to make a move there when it just comes to general business. That's what keeps a lot of people out of business because it's not set in stone. The idea that you're going to win isn't set. You could lose. And what if the whole world sees you lose and people are afraid to lose in front of everybody? The people that aren't afraid to lose are the people that gain respect of the world. So here, we'd like to see if we can get a bounce here, but there looks like there could be a little bit of a pullback here on the 15-minute time frame. The 4-hour also has a little bit of stress on it as well. I wonder what Powell says about the Fed buying up bonds yesterday. I literally just made a Facebook post that said folks need to learn to play chess. Funny. It could go up or it could go down. I'm going to take a long, but I don't. Hey, man, there you go. We're all going to be hiding under a blanket today after the Fed speaks. And we'll see what happens. But, you know, again, everyone thinks there's going to be a rate hike. I mean, that indicator is pretty spot on. It says nothing. But, hey, you never know. This does start to look like cat ears. Starting to get me a little stressed about the long. I'm like, do I cut it off and wait for a better entry? I like what I'm doing with the 200 MA, though. You know, and I don't mind. The 1 hour looks good to me. Like, if I don't look at the other time frames, the 1 hour doesn't look bad to me. Again, when you make a bigger entry like this, it's lesser risk on the moves. You know, that's what you're looking for, the bigger move. So I only, you know, we're not risking tons of money here at 6%, at 3%, at 69. Now this starts to go better and go nicer. I'll add to the trade too and make it heavier too. That's why I kind of like the DCA into the trade. We don't want to lose 97,000 though, as far as I'm concerned. Kind of like a key level today. Kind of like, no, it's a key level for sure. So everyone's on their kind of pins and needles today for sure. Jerome Powell to speak later on. And, you know, how do you guys feel? How does the chat feel? What's happening in these markets today? How does the chat feel? How does the chat feel? So strange. Like, I just lost the chat. So weird how things happen like this. There you go. In life where we trust, solitude, drain, chasing Australia, man. Cleaning drains and taking gains, my man. That pattern is dumped every time I've seen it. The cat ears pattern, correct? Yeah. I agree with you. Today's one of those days, though. Cat ears. Does look like it's going to take us down on the 15-minute time frame, does it not? Back to the 1 hour. The 1 hour has that huge wick to the downside, too, but it's not that far away for the 21-day moving average. It's got a golden cross coming. 1 hour's kind of telling me, hey, hang out. It's just too chill right now. Powell will not be raising or lowering rates today, so as long as it doesn't say anything crazy, the market should stay flat. They'll probably use it as an up and down moment, though, to go after the 100Xs, so I wouldn't be too close to the bone. See how my trade's kind of like wide? So if I do expect a trade on FOMC day, I make a wider version of the trade. You see what I'm saying? Oh, did we just go to 8, though, out of nowhere? Ooh, that's nasty. That looks like they may be dumping us now. 15-minute does look like it wants to take a bit of a tumble here to the downside. Yikes. All the way to the 200 MA, right? It's going to take some guts to stay inside this one. So here we go. Like, we can't lose the 200 MA here on the 5-minute time frame. We do that. No go. We get a bounce here. We stay inside. So you got to kind of watch your 5-minute. That 200 of the 5-minute is going to either save the day or it's going to dump a lumpa. It's going to dump a loompa, oompa, lumpa, dumpa. We'll see what happens here. Very tight on price action. Come on. Well, here we are. It seems like whenever the Fed speaks lately, they dump it before the meetings. Yeah, so you can get a pump after during the meeting. And you don't want to pump before the meeting, right? I mean, you get the opposite. Generally speaking. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but that's generally what happens. That flushes through the yellow. That's going to dump, unfortunately. So right here, we are at the precipice of what could be happening. Got to get that hold on the 200 MA here. No love. Bounce. It's got to bounce right here on this yellow line. See, we got to get the boom. People have to be like, oh, I'm buying into that. The 15-minute has so much sell pressure on the stochastic RSI being that high. Looks like it's going to jam us all the way down to the 200 MA. I may bail on this trade. This is a long-term trade. I'll just get in a better time. I do this all the time. Like, I have a huge trade. I'll just get in. I might not snipe the perfect long entry. Try to make it perfect. I could, sweat it out. That's why I'm sitting here to see if this 200 could keep me safe. I've seen it many times give us a bounce like it's doing right now. So I want to see if we can get the bounce. As crazy as this sounds, that's how strong the 200 could be. This flips green, then it kind of changes the whole story, right? Like, how does this guy, he's the magician of the 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame. Buy the rumor, sell the news. The pump was last night. Oh no, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, we already made gains too. We woke up this morning in gains. We've already woke up we sold last night's trade and we took gains right now. So have no fear. Even if I lose this little bit here, we're straight. We're okay. Sammy okay over here. Got to get this bounce and fend off. Oh no, that looks like they're going to come for me. Wow, the battle at the 200 MA here on Weeks. And Weeks, shout out to Weeks. We wanted to make sure that when you draw on it, everything looks good, and it's ready to go. They got the trading view widget. It keeps everything you draw. It comes on nicely. All right. They're just really responsive. We had a talk, say, hey, we like this. It happened. Wow, so this could be it, man. This is the battle here. Look how we're battling this. See how bots love to eat price up at this level, so you're going to be seeing bots making move. And you're going to see people entering shorts that are late. So this is where you see bot accumulation into late shorts, but sometimes the late shorts are heavy enough and not enough bots. You see what I'm saying? It can happen. More than not, the bots chew through the human beings, though. And so bots, and that's why I trade like a bot, right? To buy into this would be nuts too, right? To buy into that is pretty legendary. Again, I would do it maybe on a day that wasn't Fed day. It is Wednesday. We have good volume on Wednesday, good volume on Wednesday. You know. Looks like we may lose the sauce here, though. Wow, the battle continues at the 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame. And if we can continue to battle, what we can do is we can kind of like get through the 15 minutes somehow on the 15-minute bounces. So you're seeing if the bots on the 5 are strong enough to hold off the 5. See, this is kind of the game we play here. The nuances of time frames. Understanding how the 200 MA works on these small time frames and how it blends into the bigger and smaller. Okay. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Shout out to Mustafa. Shout out to Rave Song Records. Jennifer Moffitt. Ronnie Play. Shout out to the Guardians of Gaia. And all my beautiful people here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. And so what's crazy here is this idea, right? If we go to these 5-minute time frame. And like legendary status is to scalp this. Stop right here, right? And it can be done on the smaller time frame. The stop would have to be right below these wicks, like you're going in. This is surgery. All right, 96,740. The more you do this, the more comfortable you get. Please don't do this at home if you don't know what I'm doing. 97,448, right? And so this is my snipe. You know, these are models. These are all predestined design models that I've back tested for a long time. So 60 for 218, right? These you don't go to. You just try to, you know, gain what you made before. We made what, 150 or something. So you take half. See if you can flip it on some really high risk move here on the morning. So now we're in. We get the bounce off the 200 MA. And now you're trading like a bot. No emotions, right? Legendary bot status. We get the bounce, would be amazing. I get pushed out. It's not too bad. When you get the pump, then you're just adding to the gain on the day. And how many people are going to buy this? How many people? No one's going to do this. Only a bot would do this. Most human beings wouldn't do this. So if you're doing something most human beings wouldn't do, there's a high likelihood you're probably going to win the trade. That's why I think it's illogical, right? But is it? It's insane, but is it? As nutty as it is it nuts? You know what I mean? You just kind of start thinking, because if you're doing what the herd's doing, the herd isn't buying the bounce off the 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame that they back tested for the last 15 years. Unlikely. I mean, there's a chance they are, but it's unlikely. And it still doesn't mean I'm going to win the trade. All right. If I win, don't make me a genius. If I lose, don't call me a loser. It's just a data set inside of the many times that I've traded. Okay. Then we're back to this trade. You could see that the bounce may be solidified. The 5-minute is holding us down. We did get a candle close now off the lows. And so there's a chance that Sammy gets this bounce here. Legendary bounce again. Again, let's see. Let's see what happens. They could come for me in 2 seconds too as well. You know, there's no, look, it's getting hairy now. These, I can't watch these, right? It's like, don't watch. This one I like to look at like another coin or something and just break away. We'll look at Bitcoin dominance in a second. I hope you're having fun. Who here is having fun watching the live trading here today? Who here learned something about the long time frames and the small time frames? You can see too, I'm going over the 2-week chart. I bought $84,000 Bitcoin. I'm not someone who just sits on the 1 minute all day, right? You get it? I do it all. I could trade the 1 minute. I could trade the 2-week. Heck, I trade the monthly. We go over the monthly candle close here. So this isn't a channel that dives into the 1 minute all day long. We just cover almost the whole parameters of trading, whether it's small time frame scalping, the large time frame gap, long time frame swing trading over time. So we cover both, all the different aspects of trading. And they're getting pretty crazy here with this 200 MA. You think we would have lost it by now on that 15-minute time frame? It's amazing we even got the bounces that we did so far. And again, expect this type of volatility on a day like today. I wouldn't be surprised if a massive green candle rips in the next few seconds, or a massive red candle dumps in the next few seconds. Like, anything is possible right now. Anything is possible. For the love of the stream, brothers. Shout out to everybody. Yeah. I always take the first flag forming below or above the 1 minute 200 EMA. Smart. You know what you're doing? I think is a pretty good idea. I backtested that idea. I don't use the EMAs, but I learned that EMA works just like the MA. If you whatever you use consistently will work the same. Like if you're constantly using the 34, it doesn't matter what time. You know, that's another thing that maybe someone else can figure out on their own. I don't have to explain it because your mind will see these. Once you go as deep as me, you'll understand what I'm saying. Now they're farming the bot stops. Wow, so now we are getting the dump here. Now it makes me want to cut off this trade too because no reason to get bagged. Oh, wow, it's close. It is. They're getting it real crazy on this 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame. Candle closes in 2 minutes. That's a solid close below. Could have got the bounce. We didn't. I didn't get to be a legend today. Dang. They might wick it back up to the upside. It tells me, hey, to be careful. Man. Someone says shorted to 91,000. Ooh. Yikes. I mean, hey, anything is possible. You never know. I'm open-minded. I know nothing but the fact about ignorance. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Oh, they're dumping that puppy though, huh? We just want to see if the 5-minute can keep the 15-minute, you know, back in action. The 15-minute is looking. See, we want to see if it can stay inside the pattern. Now it's looking like it can't. You see what I'm saying? Like they broke it up, broke it down, and now. And ascending triangles are 50-50. They could go either way. Right? They can break up or down. So they're not like a guaranteed pump. They never were, never are. Pretty interesting. And just zooming in back on this battle. And to me, that's pretty much cookery. And so what I'll do here is instead of taking, you know, losing the key, let's just think and bounce back above that. I'm going to hang out at that wick right there. At this previous wick on the left. Look at that thing getting recovery back above, man. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a huge rip here, everybody. I know it sounds insane. Makes me want to go at it one more time here. As insane as that is, I'm like, oh. I do feel chased. I don't want to start feeling like I'm chasing here. And rip through all my bullets for the day. But man. Legendary status if we catch it. Now we got 3 giant wicks right off the 200 with the Stokes curving. It just looks too good. Oh, and then they dump it immediately. This is crazy. Wow, this is crazy. We should be getting a, you know, I'd say 60% of the time you're going to get a beautiful bounce here all the way back up to this key level of liquidity. About 60% of the time in my back test, you know, and on good day, I mean, without Fed day, I'd say it's almost 70-80% of the time. And wow, like the confirmation of getting back above the 200 MA here on that 5-minute time frame, strong move here. All right. Again, so then I went below the wick again to see if we could hang. Oh, wow. So here we go. Here we go. The S&P drop, Bitcoin drops, liquid. You know, we'll see. We'll see. We're going to take a look at the S&P for you too now in a second here. Again, the 1 hour above the 200 MA. Still looking good. Weeks trade still in. We're, you know, we're still in this 200 MA. It's really all about this 5-minute. It's got to hold us down here. It's got to do its job like it normally does. Otherwise, they're playing games with us on the algo. And if that's the case, then we walk away. At that point, we walk away with my tail between my legs and I go back, you know. And they might even just snipe me out and keep it moving. It's one of those days. And I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with being wrong. It hurts too. I don't like being wrong in front of thousands of people on the live stream. It is what it is, though. I got to do whatever, I got to maintain. Dang, they're beating down this thing again. And that's definitely going to be a hunt on me. Yeah, they're hunting that wick now. Come on, man. Now they're farming. I'm getting out. I'm out for the day. I'm not doing it anymore. I like my 1 hour. I like what I'm looking at, but they're playing games with price action. And so now what I'll do is if it does pump, let it pump. I'll get it on the retest. And I got to start being patient, because if you keep chasing, you can get chewed up. So now I have to tell myself, okay, they're playing games with your strategy. They're going to hang right on this. They're going to hang here. Like, they're going to hang here. You can see it. You can feel it. And I know you can kind of feel in the next, they're going to boom this thing. They're just trying to see how many people they can kick out of the trade before they rip it to the upside, right? They're farming stops right here. You can feel it. It almost smells like it. You can look at this now. The bots keep eating it up. I'm still alive here too on the weeks. Dang, man, now we're back above. They make, oh gosh, they're getting you hungry there. Interesting times. Let me jump on into the chat. How's the chat doing? Shout out to everybody here. Okay. Dang, man, how you gonna play games with me like that? How you gonna play games with me like that and get us back above the 2 again? How you gonna do this? Man, that's annoying. You know a strategy, you've back tested it for years, you see it play out like 3 times in a row and they toy with it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. All right, so now we're at break even, right? I've basically given back that scalp. Relentless, right? 97,449. I've back tested this for years. It's supposed to pay me every time I trusted it. It is Fed day though, so I'll probably have to walk away. Just want to see there, yeah, 60 for 500. I mean, it's such a nice risk-reward ratio if I could catch it on the flip side. So mouth-watering. So juicy. The low stochastics tell me, man, it's coming my way. It's coming my way. Like, all right, so the last time, 3 times the charm. They get me this time, I gotta walk away. All right, I gotta walk away. But come on, man. Let's go. Imagine if I missed it and it ripped. That's another thing. It gets you. See, I can see how trading can get in people's heads, but you can't, you see how I'm using smaller amounts too. People were doing this with 5, 4, and then they're getting liquidated and getting absolutely rocked. And that's the problem. Like, they're doing this with thousands of dollars, losing the entire account. And again, you get vexed. You want to make big money. I get it. Even I do. Like, what about Sam? Don't you feel? Yes, I do. And that's why it takes a lot of discipline to do what I'm doing here. People don't realize how disciplined you have to do to trade smaller time frames and to handle them properly and do what you got to do. Look, now we're making back the bank. You see what I'm saying? Now we made it all basically back. One of them, at least, a couple of them. 82. We should bounce all the way back to the top of the channel here and clip a nice 400 or 500 bones. I mean, that's what's supposed to happen. I don't know why they were playing games with me. The low stochastic, the bounce off the 200 MA, I've seen this many times. I've back tested it for years. Like, it's not like something I've just like jumped on into and figured out of nowhere. Okay. Now we're up 5.7%, 120 on the move. I don't need this because I got it already up there. Nice pump there, $100. I can move up the risk a little bit there. And so now we're risking $44. You see what I'm saying? But we could gain 400. It's like a risk reward ratio is beautiful. 482. So you're risking 40 for 480. It's all about proper risk management here. But you can't have proper risk management if you don't have a back-tested theory, sauce, or model. Some people do this at 200x in my, I don't know, what people do in my group is what I find even insane. But we'll teach you how to, I trade with proper risk management all the time, constantly. constantly. Sometimes I break even doing this, right? And I trade all day long. It's okay. I don't lose tons of money, you know, and then when the market rips big, I got the bigger trades flipping. I got the bigger ideas going, and things just kind of, you know, and it's about not being greedy. When I'm not greedy, things continue to work out in my favor because I'm not chasing. I'm not emotional. I'm not getting crazy. I'm taking it one step at a time, nice and calm. And if I'm not trading a model, I can't handle it. It's not for me. I got to trade something I backtested for years, or it's just, I'm going to question it too much, and then I'm going to use my emotions. Once you have the data to back you up, and you're not going to get emotional. See, and that's why you have to put in the work. And that's why taking the class, the one that I teach this Saturday, will just help you see the market better. I know so many people have taken this class and it's changed their lives forever. Jump on it today, hit the QR code to find out more at cryptolifer.com. Proper risk management prevents poor performance every single time. The key is to use $2 like you're using over $200. Yeah, exactly. You know, count the money like it is your last dollar, like it's the last dollar you ever had, right? Trade like it's the last bit of money that you ever had. That candle could complete the next move for the bigger candle. And people always like, meaning like that. See how that is right there? Like that stop loss below that wick and movement. So if you put a stop right there below this candle, and then when that got there, that would continue to move. There are actual bottoms to the movement is what I'm saying. And there's places to snipe consistent risk protection. We lost most of that candle there, see? It's high risk today. I got to hand it to price action for being super volatile. You're taking a lot of precaution. And see how hard it is for just get a little bit of movement here. Again, we're tight on price. And it's the day before Fed Day, so we're trading Fed Day. Remember the days I was like, I'm not trading Fed Day till after the Fed meeting. And funny, here we are now battling the 200 again one more time, saying, hey, are you going to challenge it? Yeah, you challenge it once, twice, 3, 4, your 5th time now challenging the 200 moving average. After you already had a massive move to the upside and people took profits at 97,000, felt like that was good enough. Felt like they had to take it at that key level. Man. So thoughts on the ETH upgrade? Yeah, when your positions aren't huge, the fees aren't that big. It's when you have big positions and large leverage, that's when you're paying a lot of fees. My leverage isn't that high. My positions aren't that large. So yeah, right now that wouldn't be stress. But that's why one of my biggest positions are on MEXC, because MEXC has the least amount of fees. So it's up to you. You do what you want. But we have MEXC, BitDNX, and Weeks. MEXC has the least amount of fees of any exchange in the game. So if it's applicable in your area, I highly suggest you open up a MEXC account. So for the man talking about fees, if MEXC's in your area, then MEXC will take care of any of those questions with basically zero fees sometimes on maker or taker and whatever comes your way. All right. Okay, so moving forward, we're watching this tight price action, and it's likely going to go sideways until Fed meeting to create that frenzy, to create that buildup. And that's something that we're seeing. I will tell you that this is bullish consolidation. Some say, but it looks like an Adam and Eve. I'll give you that. You know, you got the Adam here, the Eve, and you could be dumping to the 200 MA there. Anything. I'm open-minded, everybody. And you can see the battle right now. If that gets tighter, then we can break out. The next 2 to 3 hours are going to tell a story. I'll be live again at about, I'd say, 1:55, 2 o'clock, because then he comes on at 2:30. A lot of people go on for 2 hours straight beforehand, but it's really unneeded. Bearish summer started today already, weekly lower highs, and almost everyone will get wrecked. I don't know about that. Yeah, we'll take it one step at a time. Yeah, Italian Dutch. One step at a time. Unlikely. I mean, the weekly looks pretty bullish. Yeah, I don't see what you're seeing, but maybe, anything is possible. I'll be open-minded, but I'll tell you, when certain things happen, we'll be able to see it. We'll be able to see it. I mean, look at this crazy, awesome price action. Look how that you can see clearly that 5-minute 200 MA is really holding us down here. And everyone questions, everyone will question your strategy. No matter who you are, people will question your strategy. They will. It's just something that happens in the minds of men. But if you consistently show that you're profitable, there's nothing they can say to you, right? If you're out here every day taking gains, there's nothing they can do, nothing they can say. They can kick and scream and yell, whatever they want to do. But the actions speak louder than the words, right? And so we continuously show up and grow up every single day. And bless to everybody out here. Not just whales, huh? We could have a bottom here. Sam, you talk about Casper and their 10 thought on price movements. I mean, Casper's nice. It's a great product. It's got a good team. You know, finally a proof of work coin that could really do damage and away from the old, you know, that old proof of stake concept, but the old, you know, the new proof of stake, but it still also doesn't get the talk that it needs. And more people need to understand what Casper is and what it does. I'm into it. It's got a bit of a nerd following. Let's be honest. The people don't want to get more case-specific, coin-specific, and do that deep dive. And it's just been like a meme phase where it's just people just want to be told what's cool, what's hot, and buy it. Sad to say, you know, crypto got really awesome and techie, and there was so much to learn. And as that happened, people wanted to invest in things that had no real concept or, you know, didn't take long to figure out. Meme coins became the game. And yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of what everybody was looking for. That was hardcore into crypto for a long time. So right now, Casper's in this, what looks to me is a symmetrical triangle, which isn't that bullish. It's actually more bearish than bullish. At the same time, that is a higher low. Some say, well, that's your Adam and Eve double bottom, Sam. It just slanted up and it's going to rip to the upside. And it looks pretty nice. All right. Looks like the 1 hour chart is waiting, you know. Sam, hope you're good, brother. Make gain on yesterday's stream. God bless you. Thank you so much. Shout out to everyone. Put a 333 if you made amazing, if you just learned a lot in the last few days. If you're new to the channel, you learned a lot. You came here through the YouTube algo and you love it. Shout out to Margaret Nass for the $10. And she says, blessings, Sam. Can you look at XLM? Thank you. Shout out to Margaret. Thank you for being nice. I always remember you. You always kept that connection. She took the course on a Saturday morning, like I'm going to teach this Saturday. If you want to jump on into the course, it is this Saturday. QR code right there. It's 9 a.m. to 12 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You'll spend an extra 3 hours with me this week, and you'll have a blast. 7 days a week, we constantly work and grind to teach as many people we can technical analysis. And, you know, right now, everyone just, you know, they're missing that human connection. And I believe the human connection is really what's what you can, when you teach people through, you know, your own experience, and they can connect to who you are, and you can learn from them and they can learn from you. To me, I think that's what the world's about. As AI continues to grow, it's cool to learn through AI, but to have that human connection. And so that's why I teach that class. So, you know, it's becoming an endangered species, that human connection. Honestly, I do like what Casper's doing, and it's a bit of a cup and handle feeling. And, you know, I will go on a limb to say, you know, as long as Bitcoin holds up, and it will be, you know, but this looks like a possible move because you get to keep your stop loss a little bit below the 200 MA. The 4 hour is consolidating. Previous resistance is support right there. The same as resistance is support right there. So you got support at like 8.7. Again, though, it's a symmetrical triangle that could go either way. They don't always break out, but the stochastics say yes. The RSI says yes. The MACD are all kind of pointing for a move to the upside. That would be a 35% gain for Casper back to 12.02 cents. I'll be monitoring this closely, but it does, you know, I'm starting to lean that it's going to happen, even though that the pattern's a little sketchy, but the indicators are pushing up more the other way than the pattern. So live revision class, May 10th, jump on in today. Hit the QR code to find out more. Super chats, Stellar Lumens, TAI, FARTCOIN, and XYO. And we're going to jump into those right now too as well for Bitcoin. And look, so we got the bounce again twice now. We've been getting the bounce. I don't even want to look. It'd be amazing if we pull off this trade by the end of the stream. I don't even want to look, but it looks like we may have fended off the 50-minute dump. And it tells me that, wow, we could probably stay in. Did we stay inside? Yes, we stayed. The week straight stayed, man. And this would be amazing if you see Sammy pull this win off here. After all the shenanigans they got us for a few times here. Now we're back to where we were before, 116. Can we get the move? Now we got to get the pump all the way back up now. The short squeeze is on for BTC. Let's go now. Let's go. 122 could wash out all those, put us back on the map yet again here. Relentless they were after my model. Would be amazing to win up to that 480 and take that $500 down on the trade. Show you guys how we do it, and you guys would be just like, whoa. It's like you were watching me battle and you thought it was going to lose. He thought it was going to lose, and then he came back and he came back, and it's like watching a UFC match, but I'm battling the charts, right? And there's people that doubt, people that have faith, people that want to see the win, people that want to see the loss, and this is the fun of live trading. And it's the excitement, too, of being out there in front of everyone. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And the volatility is just insane today. We can't seem to get a break. The 5-minute candles are battling. Either way, we're getting just bought and sold, whipped and flipped, left and right. And just watching them really is just, I don't even want to look at it. So let's take a look here at Bitcoin dominance. And, you know, I'm talking about Bitcoin dominance making a big move. And to me, this is how you know there's going to be a monster move here for Bitcoin. And it's only a matter of time. I see Bitcoin dominance making a huge move, which is going to bring a big pump for Bitcoin. And I don't think people realize how crazy it could get here for BTC. And now, look, this trade is starting to possibly give us the win. And we'll be monitoring this throughout the day here. But I like this pump for Bitcoin dominance. I would watch out. Doesn't mean your altcoins are going to get completely dumped, but it means that Bitcoin's going to take the win. It's going to take the win. The DXY, something that we've been watching and monitoring you and telling you that there's like a bear flag here that's going to dump. 4-hour time frame wants to roll over. We'd like to see this continue to do so and end up further to the downside. We'll continue to watch this. If it breaks above here, then so be it. And it can pump with Bitcoin, but we'll see. And we are getting this move here now. Again, we got it before, though. We've wicked up here before and unable to get through this resistance. Can we blast? We get through here. You can see before, though. We've wicked up here before and unable. We get to that trade through on these scalps. All right, so you can see how fun I scalp, though. I like scalping, and why on BitTinex? Because the movement, the fastness, the use case of those stop losses and the take profit here. Amen. All right, you can see how I'm using that 200 MA yet again for protection. As I enter and exit trades, look for key ideas, resistances, and foundational strength. It has got me through so many ups and downs in my life as a trader that it's like my shield. It's my absolute shield. And again, we're watching this, and I like what I'm seeing here. You know, one can say, well, we're still inside. You can say we're inside. We broke out. There's a couple ways to look at this. You know, almost bullishly, like we broke out, we bullishly retested. See this? It's like a bullish retest, and that can start to bounce huge. However you want to look at it, I'm looking for the liquidity grab back to 97,400. And I see no reason why we can't get further to the upside there for Bitcoin. BOOKMAP doing its thing, showing signs of life. I mean, they want block. I mean, it looks like we could get these shorts show. I mean, it's pretty squeezed up to the upside here. Even there's liquidity on either side, but you can clearly see it could go either way. But we could get up to 98,000, in my humble opinion. I'm going to change my tick size. But wow, let's see what happens here for Bitcoin. Can we pull off this awesome move? Can we finally get a third candle in a row to flip green? First time in a while. First big green candles we've had since the play game area here on that 200 MA. We need follow through by the bulls now. We've got the bounce from the algo. Can we get the follow through? Are they going to sweep the lows yet again? This candle will tell a big story on the 5-minute time frame, you know. Bang, bang, bang. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's nothing to do, man. We're running it. We're running games here. Yeah. Shout out to everybody here on the live. We got 2,400 beautiful souls on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And price action's getting crazy. It's just taking a while for the algorithm to catch up. All right. But everything's looking good over here on our end. So no stress. I'm not stressing or even looking at it. 96,964 for Bitcoin. And you can kind of see right where we're sitting. And, you know, what a battle right now. What a battle. What a battle. What a battle. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I'm getting this crazy metric right now, which is a bit, 2,300 beautiful souls here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. All right, so I want to talk about some coins too that are on my radar right now. Is Cardano going to go to $3.23? Are we going to see a big move for Cardano? How many people are heavily invested in Cardano? I think there's a lot more people than people realize, long-term, new-term, especially with it getting the news and, being around the whole administration and all that fun stuff. So first thing you want to look at is there's a beautiful uptrend on the weekly, right? In the last few days, altcoins are going to be kind of a little skeptical, certain ones too, just based off what Bitcoin's doing. You can see Bitcoin dominance looking like it's going to brew, may give you a little more for alts. But look, there's a low, high, higher low with some wickage. Wouldn't be surprised if Cardano becomes one of the first ones to take off as we start to make a bigger move to the upside. So I'd be watching Cardano very, very closely as well. All right, that's something that I'd be looking at. All right, and then I'd be looking for this flag. I mean, your measured move for Cardano is going to be the next leg as Bitcoin rips, and you're talking $100.51 Cardano. So you want to see that this continues on to the upside. You can see we're going to get some resistance at 115. But man, this is an accumulation area for Cardano for me, anywhere between 51 cents and 69 cents really, because only a matter of time before it starts to get a bigger move. And if crypto moves, Cardano moves, and I see it almost like as this cup and handle. You almost have this like shoulder, head, right shoulder to the upside for Cardano. I go to the 3-day chart, just take away the moving averages for a second. And similar idea that we're in this flag. And I see this for a lot. I see this for Solana. I see this for Cardano. These kind of cup and handles that are about to explode and begin alt season to the upside. And, once we get through that resistance, you can clearly see 75 cents. We're going to rip cleanly to 90 and then really fast up to $1.15 for Cardano. So anyone kind of taking a look, wondering about Cardano, I could see a beautiful move here for Cardano to the upside. Definitely something to pay attention to. And maybe get the likes up to the watchers. I would greatly appreciate it. The algo said we have 2,400 beautiful souls here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Shout out to everybody here. Appreciate each and every one of you for sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Yeah, the algo's bugging. It's going from like 18 to 25 to 2,000. It's like whenever I see that, it's always like, you're wondering what is going on there. What is going on? So look, I mean, we're still in this trade. We got another big wick back to the upside, and we're battling. And it's a good chance we still get this bounce. This chance maybe, we'll see. We'll see. So how would I frame this? I like to frame it like this idea is the best for me because it makes the most, you just got to get the bounce. Now, if you lose this trend line, then you know that this is kind of a lost cause. You're going to be testing 96.3 and then possibly going further to the downside. But hey, anything could happen. We're looking for sideways price action. This goes sideways, there's more likelihood that it breaks out. And it starts to break out, then this is still on the table. So right now, you have people taking sides on either way. You have people shorting this double top with a lot of stops up here. You have people longing this with a lot of stops down here. And you have everyone waiting on Jerome Powell. So you're going to have liquidations on both sides. They might go down and up. They might go up and down and then rip it. They may go down and up and then dump it. You never know what can happen here today. It's a heavily volatile day. If you're trading, you just have to have a plan and be okay with whatever happens. Whether you get stopped out or win, that's it. And you have to think it through and be okay with whatever goes on. And if you're there and that's kind of what you're doing, then you're going to be okay. So, and I've got my plan. I know what I'm doing. I'm using my 200 like I always. I'm not changing anything. And I got my bigger and my smaller, and we'll go from there. And I've given you guys kind of every kind of scenario that I'm talking through, and I'm okay with it all. And you guys have seen it, and you know what I'm into. So what else can I do, right? There you go for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Solana, and then I'm going to take a look at what you people are saying into the super chats. So I've been watching Sol, and just simply put, I've been watching this beautiful cup and handle. And maybe they dolphin dip it down to get out the stop losses at 136. There's a chance. I'd have some limit orders down in these areas just in case is what I was saying. But we'd like just sideways price action. I do see $200 Solana, you know, somewhere by the end of May. It could definitely happen. So if you see $200 Solana by June 1st, don't be surprised. We had it here first on the channel. And so God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Yeah, so we're getting our usual 2,400 people here on the live, but somehow it's getting like the algorithms, you know what I mean? So we know there's about 2,400 people here. God bless all my beautiful souls. And let's get those likes up to the watchers. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. So a beautiful move for Solana is on the way as far as I'm concerned. All right. Let's take a look at CoinMarketCap and see what's happening too. People will look at a turbo. It did go up 20%. We talked about it yesterday, a couple days before. ARPA likes to move too. All right, but everything else kind of a bit quiet here. Let's see what's moving today. Flare, which is connected to XRP, the last few weeks has been moving. 7 days up 10%. DEXY up 12%. Pax Gold, right? That gold coin connected to gold, ping to gold, Pax G. Tron 8%, 15% for EOS, interesting. 20% the last week for Forum, KuCoin sharing, but just nothing too crazy here in the altcoins. And again, I've just been DCing into the coins that are hot. And I'm going to show you the two hottest coins at the end of the stream that I think are really just strong, that I like the most. Okay. Layer had that huge pump. Then what? Is it going to continue? It was the hottest coin like for the last few weeks. And so I've been eyeing on when it will pull back and possibly be good to trade again. And this is not Layer AI. This is Sol Layer. You know, Token Metrics had it out. It continued to rip. And so, oh, wow, look at that. Today, it finally dumps hard. I was waiting for it to dump. And wow, so eventually, wow, Sol Layer does get the takedown, right? I'm saying when things rip like that, you're like, when is it going to dump? Now, do I like to buy that dump? No, I'd like a more casual dump there. So that's pretty crazy. But Sol Layer, you can see it was just mooning from 61 cents. It went all the way to 350. Did almost a 6x. Maybe even it did it basically almost did a 6x to 355 from 60 cents there. And wow, now it's coming down hard. Even today as we speak, it's dumping. Funny. Speak of the dump, as I was just talking about it, Sol Layer. Crazy. And Bitcoin playing games, but holding us down here on this 5-minute 200 MA. And again, we could go sideways up until the Fed meeting too as well. It's just kind of how we can play this today. And we're watching BitDinex for the bounce off the bottom. And it's all about the 5-minute 200. You can see how we've been kind of hanging out on this key level. And frustrating, you know, trading during Fed day usually is pretty annoying. All right, you know, it's not going to be everything you want. There's going to be some ups and downs to it for sure. All right. So just if you're new here, we're just going to go over the Bitcoin levels one more time. Beautiful support at 86,000. Beautiful support on the weekly at about 93.8, 94K, right? So 94K was that key level we battled many times. We stayed above it on the weekly. This next weekly candle ate up the liquidity. And honestly, if we could close above 98,005, it would be key. That's going to be our next key level to take out. We take out 98.5 and then boom. I mean, it's 102, 104, and we are gone, baby, gone. Look at our daily time frame. And I started making this very strange broadening rising wedge, which can break to the upside. And I was talking how similar it looks like to this when Bitcoin basically started its next monster move to the upside. They look almost identical, as you can see. And I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but it's pretty interesting. And even the stochastics and everything looks similar to where it was before. But anyway, we found a fractal. We went over it so far. Everything has been playing out eerily similar to how that should have happened, which, you know, whatever that is, it's just pretty awkward, pretty strange. And we'll see, you know, maybe we did uncover a bit of a fractal there that gave us a little insight as to where we were going into the future. And that brings me to the 4-hour time frame. And then I flip on the moving averages. The only thing holding me back lately today is the fact that, you know, fine, we did this beautiful breakout. This falling wedge did, you know, I wanted it there. They dumped it. I was feeling a move back to the upside. They just kind of kept sweeping the liquidity. Then they double bottomed it and they ripped it, right? what's cool about this is now, look, local resistance is now supported about 95,000. 95 is key. So a couple things. Either like we could rip up like this in a flag that just eventually goes bananas, which is awesome. And the 21 curves up with price and we continue to rip. But we're just a little far away from that 21-day moving average on the 4-hour time frame. And so that's why we're kind of sitting here watching the 1 hour, a little bit of a cautious there. And besides that, like this is kind of where we stand. And this kind of was the same story about 2 to 3 hours ago. And we've just had a bunch of up and down price action since then. So just kind of taking you through the weekly all the way back in so you can kind of get a sense of where we're at. You're not lost. You're calmly with us. You can see why I'm doing this. Small time frames lead to big time frames. Big time frames kind of, lead to the bigger gains. So we're always looking for the smaller confirmation for the bigger move. And this leads us back to the 15, which we didn't want to see dump as it was kind of blending its way through the bottom of this channel. And then here we are, like with a possible fake out breakout back inside the channel. Like something like this, and it's looked like we're just still tight for a possible bigger move. Again, I took the measured move, which we could just, be pretty concise with right there. And it does start to give you somewhere up to about $100,000. So could we go to 100K today? We could. And then I watched the 5. I'm waiting for the 5 to hold that 200, which it continues to do so. And now we're finally getting a bigger move on this trade that I've been holding for so long. And now it's up a nice 6.7%, $150 on the trade. Can we finally get the move through liquidity? And the blast that Sammy's been waiting for this whole time? As price action gets further away, I can raise the stop. Now I'm only losing $26 for a chance to get 482. And this is how you continuously raise your risk, lower your risk to gain. And wow, we're finally getting the squeeze that we've been asking for here on Bitcoin. But again, we've been here a couple times on the wick and we've been rejected here now a few times. Makes me wonder to take profits now. You see, trading is not easy. It's a constant discipline. You see, I've been working this trade over and over again, constantly mitigating the risk. It's about making sure that we're not losing over and over again. If you're going to do this, you got to do this. This is work. Small time frame trading is work. You're on the time frame. You're on it. You can't sit back and just let it do its thing. If I eventually make $1,000 today, people will say you got lucky, and I'll be like, I worked so hard for it, and I used all these different ideas, tips and tricks, and years of what I did in the past. It's not something it just doesn't get handed to you overnight. Something you work at over and over again till you eventually start to win consistently. And then the second you slip off, the second you decide it's easy, that's when you can get spanked. Yeah, I did say spanked. Yeah. There you go, up 8%, 200 on the trade. Let's go. Nice big movement here, 97,100 for Bitcoin. Proper stop loss, above entry now. We can't lose this trade. I'd like to keep it below the 200, but the kind of sketchy day it's been, I almost feel like I should take it now. What a battle it's been, right? Shout out to anyone that hung out this whole time or was able to kind of go through the motions with me on these trades. Nice, though. We get this careening movement up. You can see fast move down, fast move up. This says we can grab the liquidity up here pretty fast to 97,005. And again, remember, this is the small scalp. We got the other trade cooking, so we always have another trade cooking in the background. That's why I have the week trade open while I'm scalping Bit2Next, using multiple exchanges at the same time to get my trades separated. That way there's no confusion of what's happening. I know what time frame I'm doing what on what exchange. This is how I have to do it for me, for my organizational purposes. It just makes it easier for me. When my things are really, it's like a bookkeeper when you were in college. You didn't have chemistry and the same as your math. You had to have it separate. Separate your stuff, have it classified, nice and organized. Here we go, 97,100 on the move. Now I'm going to move now I'm moving into profit here. Now we're waiting for that big boom. We got to get that one massive squeeze to the upside here and get the liquidations that we're looking for. Link to BookMap in the description below if you want to watch how liquidity is moving here on BookMap. It's going to teach you kind of liquidations, areas, API. It's going to show you some awesome stuff about the market, and it's going to teach you what's hiding behind the candles. There's so much liquidity behind those candles. You're just watching candlesticks, but like to see actually where price is going on the map is important. It's more, you know, again, I use candles, I use my strategies, and again, they play out, they coincide together. I look for that confluence, that combined influence that make that movement together. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Shout out to anyone that uses any of the links that I put out there. I greatly appreciate it. I do receive a commission. Thank you so much. If you use the Bit2Next link, if you use the Weeks link, if you use Mexi, I greatly appreciate it. God bless everybody out there. Shout out to anyone that I was out in Dubai that I met. Blessed to have that beautiful experience. Shout out to Jamie, my whole team, my wife. Shout out to everyone that makes this show amazing. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Jay, the editor. Shout out to Lakochi. Shout out to all my admins out there too on the live, the Blue Crew. And I'm not going anywhere. I just want to say thank you to everybody here. I mean, amazing time to be alive, right? Let's be grateful for everything we have in this life, everyone. When we're grateful for what we have, we're able to build on that and continue to grow with abundance. So you never want to look at the lack in your life. You always want to say, what is amazing that I do have? How can I build on that? Where I am, where I used to be. Think about where this channel used to be 4 years ago. Nobody knew us, you know, maybe a few thousand subscribers. You know, we started in September of 2019. So coming up on 6 years and next fall. And God bless everybody out here on our way to 100,000 subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button. Shout out to anyone that subscribed to the channel. If you're getting knowledge from how I use the moving averages, knowledge from how I use risk, knowledge from how I'm battling the charts, let me know. And look, I'm going to take profits here, like make it a, you know, almost like a break-even day after we go through all this up and down nonsense, right? Look, I'll put the stop right there now. Let's see if this can clean through that wick though and get a movement, get some movement. I like to leave it there too. Wow, it's almost breaking out again. You can almost feel like that's a breakout as far as I'm concerned. And that 15-minute kind of rebounding with a bit of a higher low, high, low, higher low though. Can it take out the higher high now and really go for some bigger, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we ripped to 100K today. You know, I know it's like, there's that, you know, that feeling in the air. And I know that's kind of what pulls people in. Shout out to the 777s here on the live. 777 on the likes, 22222 on the viewership. Bless you all. Wow, look at this. We have the guts to move that stop. You can see what can happen here. This is live trading at its funnest, at its best. You do this 4 or 5 times a day, you could make $500 4 times. That's $2,000 a day. People don't realize, like, oh, but it's not a huge trade. It's not about, every trade doesn't have to be big. It's about working the trades throughout the day. They add up over time. Also gain confidence as you continue to win, and then you can use more capital depending on how you feel. It's about backtesting strategies, being a part of the trades too. For me, I just like being in the markets on my favorite days. Tuesday, Wednesday, early morning Thursday. That's when I like to be in trades. That's when the trade acts. That's when it happens. All right. That's when things get crazy here. Wow. All right. So they did stop us out here on the move. Okay. They did stop us out here on the move. Wow. And remember, we still got the other trade open, the big boy. All right. CME Watch Tool will be back too when Jerome Powell comes on. Man, this is still an open-minded idea here that this could pump on the 15-minute. You know, it still looks pretty good here too on the 15-minute time frame. And I still got the ETH trade open. I think I opened either in Dubai or the day before I got to Dubai. I have to be honest, this just looks so good to me. Like, that just looks good to me. It looks like it's like it was a fake out breakout, or it's still in, you know, it's still inside. And I've traded a bull flag so many times in my life and it's played out. But again, they could fake so many people out today with that Fed meeting. Or we could just, you know, again, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but what should happen is a nothing burger. And absolutely, like, nothing. Like, because we all know it's no rate, and he's going to come out and say no rate cut. But it's what he says and what people ask. And if he's going to lean into a hawkish or more dovish predisposition of foreshadowing what's going to happen. And I think that's kind of where we stand, you know, and what can we exculpate from what he says? Like, we're going to be able to pull information out from what he's going to say, and if that kind of has an effect on the market. And that speculation does move the market somewhat. And then there's movement in the charts that can kind of convey what could happen. And that's just, that's that nuance of data and analytics that kind of makes the charts do what they do. It's fun. And it's kind of what we all live for here as traders. And there's volatility in that. Every time there's a mystique to a movement, there's volatility in it. You got too many people on either side blending their liquidity into their ideas. What's going to happen? Well, I believe, So I'm long, or I'm short, or I'm this, or I'm that. Basically, whenever traders can read a story, then they can write their own story. And if they can write their own story, then there's going to be a lot of trades on the table. Pretty funny idea to think about how it all works, but that's just, the sauce of the sauce. Blessings to everybody out here. Thank you for jumping on in. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you so much for being a part of this amazing, awesome live. And we thank you so much for kicking it with the lifers. And yeah, we thank you. Interesting enough. Yeah. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. And yeah, we love you. We appreciate you. Odds are we pump. Got stop at 3.6. Should have taken profit. $7 profit. 96,907. And again, it could dump hard too. Just be careful. Just be careful. All right. And see, look, we lock in that profit with that fast move down after all of that movement. You see? That's why I'm never weary. I'm always wary of price action, especially on a day like today. Let's take a look at stellar lumens here on MEXC. And I'm just looking at this on the bigger time frame. I really am. And I'm watching accumulation zone right there. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. And that's it. That's how I would look at this. In only a matter of time, it goes to 77. Just long-term idea there for stellar. Okay. We need a semi coming in. The Italian money will go to crypto. Exactly. Let's look at TAI. USDT here on MEXC. TARS protocol. TARS AI. Or TAR, TARS protocol, but everyone likes to call it TARS. But, TAI. Again, everyone's speculating because it's got that fun from Solana, this and that. We had a nice run up. We put it out recently where it pumped so hard. And then you can see time to take profits, oversold on the 3-day chart, away from the 21-day moving average. You can't will something that's, it gets to be too much. The moving averages are far apart. I mean, it's starting to get back into the key levels. And if you look at it on the daily, it's coming back to the 618 golden pocket. But heavy sell-off. Yet again, it looks like this is kind of VC controlled. I'd be careful. I swing trade this thing, but I don't know about long-term holding. Yeah, I still don't trust a lot of these altcoins just yet, except for the main ones, And the ones I was going to tell you about, like Say is really the coin. And I put out a call for it, and it hit that target. Since then, pulled back too as well. Altcoins are sketchy. Remember, that Bitcoin dominance looking strong. So to me, it's in and out on these altcoins unless I'm DCing on the nastiest days. So I'm swing trading strong volume and just taking a retest of key areas. You see, or I'm buying something that I believe in on the nastiest days. To me, that's it. And then I'm looking for lev trades on Bitcoin to put into long-term ideas to either stack Bitcoin, and then I'm stacking BTC too as well. So I like this, and I'd like to see this hold a higher low and bounce. Probably a great place to DCA, and we could definitely start to get a bounce, even maybe all the way back up to 28 cents. And that could be a good higher low off previous resistance as support. I'd see a couple more days though of SCI, and it also looks like it could make a beautiful shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then really boom. So this could be that's a DCA for sure. If I didn't have enough SCI right now, I'd be definitely grabbing some right there. Let's take a look at SWI. And again, Fed Day isn't always the best day for altcoins too, because you're going to get that volatility on Bitcoin. SWI, we're looking for a bounce. You're looking for the daily 200 MA to hold. If not, it's going to drop further down, play some games. If not, you're looking for it to kind of make that inverted head and shoulder, like we talked about in the 8 hour, something like this. Might even be more long term. But you're looking for it to kind of slowly work its way on out. I mean, SWI had a huge pump above the rest of the market. Almost want to look at it on the daily. Yeah, the daily's fine though. Look, coming back to the 21, the 200 MA. It looks like it's definitely going to consolidate somewhere in these areas. A great DCA for SWE before it starts to make a bigger move. I have huge bags of it. I'm really happy with what I have, but if you were not happy with what you got, and again, it's one of the coins I was buying, you know, anytime it went below 2, anytime it was near $2, I felt like SWE was a beautiful buy. 225, we bought a lot of it. And we even bought it 70 cents, if you remember when I first put it out. So again, I'm not trying to brag. It just, we were in SWE early. It was obvious to me. I'm not even trying to make it look like it was like kind of like this cycle. There was only a few things that were really obvious, and SWE was definitely one of them. And someone asked about the old, yeah, we'll take a look here. Had a nice little pump, but you can see altcoins getting a little sell-off. And why? Well, Bitcoin dominance. You can, I'm just, you know, every time another state does a reserve, it creates a frenzy. And now you're saying, well, they're only making, let's say, $700 Bitcoin a day, and they're buying $2,000 of them. Like 650 Bitcoins are getting mined, and they're buying 2,000 a day. Like, and then MicroStrategy is buying more. And then, you know, basically states are buying them. Congress is going to pass its first, you know, U.S. Senate is going to pass its first, you know, regulative idea here. This is getting big. So it's putting pressure. I mean, as more every time legislation comes out, it opens the door for another state to add it to the reserve. Every time another state adds it to the reserve, that's a big chunk. Another state does it, then another country wants to do it. And the next thing you know, everyone around the world's like, man, we should have been doing this a long time ago. It's the woulda, shoulda, coulda series. And then Bitcoin starts to go up in price. Everyone realizes that they could have had it on the balance sheet a long time ago, and it could have saved them from inflation. And even if they're not sure what's going to happen, why wouldn't you at least put 5 to 6%? And a lot of people that have done a small allocation have actually seen a hedge, you know, it gets taken care of. And then MicroStrategy keeps buying. BlackRock keeps buying. It's only a matter of time. Now they have, you know, Warren Buffett out, you know, basically going to retire from the fund, and then they're going to start buying Bitcoin. Those people aren't going to get left in the wayside. So to me, again, these are my predictions, but it's only, you know, previous support is resistance for FARTCOIN. If it gets a bounce, see, this is the thing. What I like about my trading styles, I'm not trying to catch the bottom every time. I'm trying to watch how the bottom is formed. If it happens and this goes sideways, then I would trade FARTCOIN there. Just like we traded, remember we gave you the trade here when it started to get busy. We gave you this trade, and FARTCOIN did play out very, very nicely. Even some little flags there when the market started to rip. And FARTCOIN's up, nice. Like, I mean, it's in a beautiful uptrend. That's still a higher low. There's nothing wrong with this trend. And it's getting oversold with the higher low. I just want to see that bounce and then continuation. And FARTCOIN looks like it can do some damage. I got alerts on FARTCOIN, and I'll see what happens as we move forward. Thank you so much for your time and your super chats. Appreciate you all for being here. XYO. Crazy jump to the upside here. I don't know how it got all mixed up there. Let's take a look at it. Maybe on KuCoin. CoinX. Funny, you can see my beautiful drawing on CoinX. So this coin's something, you get this little chip, right? It tells people where you've been and stuff, and it kind of helps sell advertising to, you know, you kind of sell your location and what you're doing. That was the whole idea. I think it's a great concept. Hasn't really picked up in the minds of men. You know, you don't see it everywhere. Some people should know more about it. But, you know, it has a good use case. I believe it has a docs team. I don't, you know, don't quote me on that, but I believe it does. I believe I've seen the man talk about his product on Instagram and stuff. You know, it looks like it's bullish. It gets above the 200 MA, it's going to rip. Previous support is resistance right here, and it's in a bit of a, you know, cup and handle flag here. I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to pump. It's not my cup of tea or my favorite coin, but it has gone on some big moves, and it may do it again. All right. Let's take a look at, well, and I know I've watched the coin. It's been around since like 2017. That's the thing. Coins that have been around this long and are just not, you know, I also get a little bored of them. You know, it's like, oh yeah, that one. Seen that one for years. It gets like that. WOJAK. This is a meme, a newer meme that came out just like a year ago, less than that. And like every coin, they're kind of at their bottom, but they're starting. This looks interesting on the daily. I mean, that's a cup and handle. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing pumps. I mean, it's a cup and handle, and you can have like Again, I don't like this coin. It's a meme. I think memes are sketch. But I just go on setups, and that setup looks like it's going to pump. That daily looks good with lack of bearish momentum. There may not be enough sellers for WOJAK and enough people interested. And Solana memes. Solana starts to take off. It's one of the first coins that'll kind of get a movement, and then that whole thing. So shout out to whoever gave WOJAK. Looks like you got lifer blood in you, and you know how lifer likes his setups. That's a cup and handle too as well. Previous support is resistance. Low Stokes. I mean, there's a lot of confluence in that trade right there. People don't realize, you know. Moving average is getting tight on the daily, pump up to the 200 MA. It's all kind of getting set. Above the high volume node there, bouncing with, you know, above the, you know, I like it. It looks interesting. I got to give it to you. You know. It is a high risk meme though. For sure. You know, that's a fact. I've never traded it or had it in my wallet, so I might have swung trade it once because I don't want to, you know, but if I did, it was quick, and I'm not a huge WOJAK fan, but that looks interesting. I just go over each super chat open-mindedly, everyone. I don't I attempt to be as extremely unbiased as I can every single time I go over a coin, and just take it for what it is. Take that setup exactly. If that setup is teaching me as much as it's teaching you, we're just taking it together one step at a time. Understand? Yep. Look how it's bouncing off that again, the double bottom there. So interesting, right? So amazing. We could go for it again. I could take the same scalp one more time now and see if we can get back up to liquidity yet again. Why not? We won last time, so why not keep going? 97,448. Stop below 96,775. Again, just like smaller scalps. Make sure you're right on price. It's the one thing I've done sometimes that I don't love. And there you go. Same story, Morning Glory. Same idea here yet again. And now that's like a double bottom, which is even more likely to bounce. So why not take the higher probability play yet again? Same idea. Bounce off the 200 MA. I already did it a couple minutes ago. I know you did, right? MYRO ready to pump. Let's take a look at MYRO. Probably looks a lot like WOJAK. And so we have to think, what's the first coin that's going to pump when Bitcoin really gets a rippage? You know, the other altcoins will dump. They really will. But what, you know, Solana is, you know, you think ETH used to be the one? Now it's Solana. Solana kind of takes the cake because people want to put that same money into the hot coin, and it used to be Ethereum. It's now Solana. Ethereum will get a move, but it won't be like Solana. And if Solana moves, then you're going to say, you know, all these altcoins on Sol. WOJAK, you know what I'm saying? MYRO, all this stuff is going to probably be some of the first movers. Even WIF might get a whiff of the move. Interesting. Now, I don't see strong support. There's a little chunk here that might hold us down. But this is an area that we're looking at. MYRO, I don't know if it's going to pump just yet. I'd be careful. But it is starting to form that falling wedge idea. And we'll put on the moving averages. It is touching the 21-day moving average. I'll give it to you. Take it your 12 and your 22. I mean, yeah. With the golden cross right there. And people would be like, wow, you know. And so if the market does recover, these coins, next thing you know, it happens fast. Next thing you know, a 90% gain. And people are afraid to take a shot. You know. People are definitely, they're afraid to take a shot. I already did a couple minutes ago. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show, and thank you so much for hanging out and learning with the Lifer. MYRO does look interesting. You know, a stop loss, and again, these are, you put these deep. A lot of people aren't willing to go for the gusto there, but that's, interesting. And again, I'm always looking for that bargain hunting. You can't buy the top. So if you can't buy the top, then you got to bargain hunt. If you got to bargain hunt, it is what it is, right? You got to make it happen. So you see my whole thesis behind what's happening here with Solana and Bitcoin. It's not like, and And everything I do is a back-tested idea and strategy, and even something based off years of doing trading beforehand. Never just that, you know, oh, we're going to do this right now because of that, you know. Someone said KAITO pumping. It is beautifully to the upside. Look at that. And again, tight moving averages, they pump up to the 200 MA. It's like this kind of thing. And did it get above the 200 on the 1 hour? It must have, right? In the 4 hour? Yeah, look at that. It just explodes. And now I would try to track it, but like almost looks like a head and shoulder pattern is going to dump on you, right? No guarantees. It's pretty almost a double bottom too, though. Not a clean pattern, so it's got mixed signals. Nice flag right there, though. That was how it all started. See this flag? 21 touching, low stochastics, and then it had a nice measured move. And look at it, went right up there to it. I mean, the sell is already kind of on right now, right? Time to sell off. So, but thank you for giving us KAITO there just to kind of look it over. It might be something else to look at. Lots of alts are looking prime. We'll be flipping alts at you in the trading group. Look out for my elite. Look out for me and all of us to be going through the altcoins that we see happening in the group. Shout out to you. Stay bright, baby, blue, baby. You know what I mean? We got you. We got you. God bless everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here and sharing your most precious asset with you, and that is your time. Do you think it'll go up and then panic sell, sir? Probably. It'll go up and then I'll probably panic sell. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Beam's been looking good. Yep. Fed rate cut or not, bro. I say no Fed rate cut at all. No. This looks like it could continue to pump even though it's all jalopy style. Something's going on with KAITO, but I wouldn't jump on. It's a little late for me. Did you not learn from it? Everyone can see how it goes with your own money. Next time. Yeah. Hey, everybody, I hope you all had a wonderful day out here on the live. May God bless you and thank you for being here. Look at that snipe. And I'm not going to trade again until after the Fed meeting. We're going to see what happens, but we're watching this tight price action. It's either going to dump hard or pump hard. It's looking like it's going to dump, honestly. But I'm not going to make a call. We'll see what happens. It's Fed meeting. After that, we'll kind of see how the dust settles. And I gave you all the kind of price action information I could, just so you know. All right. A lot of times it does slow dump before. I mean, look at that shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's about, you know, you lose the 200 MA on that 5-minute time frame, it's over. Everyone wants direct answers. I gave you direct answers. I mean, that looks bearish to me. You'd have to bounce on the bottom of the trend line. So I hope you had fun. That was just really this was the entire stream of up and down price action. So just be careful. And don't risk a lot. Amen. All right. And don't risk a lot. I'll be back later on to break down what happens here for Bitcoin. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And in just a few hours, back at about 2 o'clock for Fed meeting. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Stay blessed, stay amazing. And I'll see you all in the trading group. God bless.